You didn't just stumble across this message by accident. No, this is a divine appointment. There's something stirring in the heavens, something breaking in the unseen realm, and it has your name on it. You've been hidden, pressed, crushed, but not forgotten. What you've endured wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to mark you, because you, beloved, are the chosen one. And it's time you know. God is about to release everything you prayed for. Let that settle deep into your spirit. The very things you whispered through tears in the silence of the night, the things no one else knew, you longed for, God heard them. And not only did he hear, but he recorded each cry, each tear, each sacred longing. Heaven took notes on your heartbreak. You see, when you carry the mantle of the chosen, your journey is not like everyone else's. From childhood, it was different. You noticed things others ignored. You felt pain deeper. You saw through masks. You longed for more than surface-level life, more than routines and religion. There was always a hunger inside of you for the supernatural, for truth, for destiny. And that wasn't your imagination. That was your calling waking up early. But oh, how the enemy noticed. From the moment your light began to flicker, he launched a silent war against you. Through rejection, through family wounds, through betrayals that you never saw coming. At times it felt like your very soul was under siege. People misunderstood you. Some walked away from you without explanation. Others tried to dim your shine because your very presence convicted the shadows they refused to face. There were seasons you questioned everything, your worth, your purpose, your place in the world. You asked, God, why me? Why does it feel like I'm always in a fight? But the truth is, you were never fighting for survival. You were fighting because you carry something sacred. The devil doesn't war against the average. He doesn't bother with the comfortable or the complacent. He comes after the ones who are marked. And beloved, you've been marked by heaven. Every delay you've experienced, every door that slammed in your face, every person who walked away, it wasn't punishment. It was protection. God was hiding you in plain sight, developing you in the dark, like film in a sacred chamber, because what you carry is holy, and what is holy must be hidden before it's released. But hear me, the hiding is over. There's a shift in the spirit happening even now. Something that's been locked up for years is about to burst forth. That prayer you thought God forgot, he didn't. That vision you buried because life got too heavy, he remembers. The desires you laid down because you were too weary to hope again, heaven has not canceled them. The enemy tried to use weariness to make you forfeit, but God used the wilderness to make you unshakable. You see, this whole time when you were crying, when you were breaking, when you were misunderstood, God was fortifying you. He was removing the need for applause, cutting away every false identity, stripping off the dead weight of people-pleasing, because what he's about to give you cannot be shared with counterfeit connections. He had to isolate you to elevate you. And now in this divine hour, you are standing at the edge of a release, a spiritual release, a financial release, a relational release, a destiny release. What you've carried in the spirit for so long is about to manifest in the natural, not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. You didn't quit. You didn't give up, even when everything in you screamed to let go. You stayed faithful with little, and now the one who sees in secret is about to reward you openly. There's a crown being placed on your head that no one can remove, a seat being prepared at the table they said you'd never be invited to. This is more than a comeback. It's a divine unveiling. And yes, people will be shocked. Some will question how you rose so suddenly, but you'll know it wasn't sudden. It was sacred. You were becoming long before they noticed. This is why the warfare was so intense. The enemy knew your timeline better than you did. He saw what you didn't, that your prayers weren't just cries for comfort. They were contracts for destiny. Every time you chose forgiveness over vengeance, heaven moved. Every time you sowed love in places of betrayal, you broke generational cycles. Every time you fell and got back up, You rewrote your family's legacy. And now the heavens are declaring, it's your time. Not because you forced it, not because you manipulated your way into it, but because you waited when it hurt. You trusted when it didn't make sense. You obeyed when no one was watching. You stayed true to who you are, even when others tried to shame you into silence. God is not only about to release what you prayed for, He's about to exceed it. He's about to restore the years you lost, the love you were denied, the opportunities that passed you by. Everything that tried to break you is about to bless you. Everything that tried to delay you is about to elevate you. And every mouth that cursed you, watch. God is about to make them witness your rising. Don't let the silence of God fool you. When heaven is quiet, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the master artist is still painting the masterpiece. And baby, you're the canvas. This is why the enemy fought so hard to shut you down. He knew that once you stepped into your authority, you'd tear down the altars he built in your bloodline. He knew that once you remembered who you are, you'd become unstoppable. And I'm here to remind you, you are the chosen one. You're not random. You're not a mistake. You're not cursed. You are anointed, appointed, and now about to be released. Everything you prayed for is on its way. Stay close, because what's coming will blow your mind. You didn't just survive all of that by chance. Let's be real. There were moments you felt like you were losing your mind, moments when everything around you was falling apart and no one could see the storm you were carrying inside. But let me tell you something no one ever told you before. What you went through wasn't punishment, it was proof. Proof that you are spiritually dangerous. Proof that the anointing you carry is a threat to darkness itself. See, when you're chosen, the fight comes early, and it comes hard. Some of your fiercest battles weren't even about you directly. They were about what's attached to your name. The enemy doesn't come for the fruitless. He doesn't attack what isn't a threat. He came for you because he saw what God placed inside you before you ever saw it yourself. And I know it felt like too much. The betrayals, the heartbreaks, the abandonment. You tried to love people who only knew how to use you. You gave pieces of yourself to those who never valued the gift. You kept asking God, why does it hurt this much? And now you're beginning to see your pain had purpose. Your scars are sacred. Your suffering was training. Because in the spirit realm, battle scars are badges of honor. You've been through the fire, and instead of burning, you came out forged, stronger, clearer, with a fire in your eyes that wasn't there before. You're not broken. You're built. Built for spiritual warfare, built for breakthrough, built to shatter strongholds that have held your bloodline hostage for generations. You are a breaker, a chain destroyer, a generational curse terminator, and that's why your battle has felt more like a war zone than a walk in the park. Let's talk real. Some of the attacks didn't even make sense, did they? Random losses, sudden betrayals, relationships crumbling with no warning, doors closing right when you thought they were about to open. It felt like sabotage. But in reality, it was spiritual resistance. Every time you got close to elevation, hell tried to knock you off course. But God stepped in and said, not this one. And even when you didn't feel him, even when you couldn't trace him, he was covering you. The fact that you're still here, still listening, still seeking truth, still hungry for purpose, that's not normal. That's supernatural preservation. Because the chosen don't fall like others. They rise again and again. And right now, the Spirit of God is saying, I saw everything. I counted every tear. I measured every loss. I recorded every injustice done to you. Nothing has gone unnoticed. That means nothing will go unrewarded. Your enemies, the ones who mocked your downfall, they have no idea what's coming. While they were laughing, God was lifting. While they were gossiping, God was gathering blessings with your name engraved on them. They thought it was over for you. But what they didn't know is, you were never buried. You were planted. And what's been growing in secret is about to bloom in the open. Oh, if they only knew the favor that's about to flood your life. If they only knew the tables that are about to turn. That boss who overlooked you. that friend who betrayed you, that lover who couldn't see your worth. God saw it all, and He's been preparing a divine reversal that's going to shake everything connected to you. Hear me clearly. The ones who tried to destroy you will be witnesses to your elevation, not because you sought revenge, but because you chose righteousness. You kept your hands clean. You didn't clap back. You didn't curse them. You let God handle it. And because of that, He's about to handle you with glory. This is what sets you apart. You fought with prayer. You battled in silence. You cried, but you didn't quit. And every time you chose light over bitterness, you gained spiritual rank. You may not have realized it, but in the unseen realm, you've been promoted. You wear a crown no one can see, but the spirit world recognizes it. And that's why the warfare got worse every time you leveled up. New devils came because new levels were being unlocked. But each time you stood. Weakened, yes. Wounded, absolutely, but never defeated. Because God was in the fire with you. He didn't just allow the trial, He walked through it beside you. And every loss you took in the natural was gaining something in the spirit. Peace, clarity, discernment, wisdom. You've been upgraded in ways money can't buy. So now the shaking is happening. The ground beneath you is trembling because what you've been carrying spiritually is about to break through. Your breakthrough isn't coming, it's already started. That tension you feel, that strange sense of shifting, that's labor pain. You're birthing something powerful, something eternal. No more delay, no more cycles, no more wondering if it's ever going to happen. It's happening, and those who once rejected you will be puzzled. How did they make it through that? How are they still standing? How did they rise from that mess? But you'll know, you'll smile quietly because you understand. It was never by your strength. It was always by His Spirit. God didn't let you drown in depression. He didn't let you lose yourself in bitterness. He rescued you from bitterness by giving you vision. He pulled you out of the pit because He still has plans for your palace. You were Joseph in the prison, David in the cave, Esther in preparation. But now you are stepping into the unveiling. The anointing is about to meet the assignment. The fire in you is about to meet the favor around you. This is divine alignment. And don't be surprised when your enemies fall silent. Some will try to come back. Some will try to explain. But God is already handling that. Your only job is to keep rising, keep shining, keep walking with integrity. Because the release isn't just for you. It's for everyone who will be set free through your obedience. You are not small. You are not forgotten. You are a warrior in the spirit, a lighthouse in the dark, and a chosen vessel of divine justice. The kingdom within you is shaking kingdoms around you. This is your moment. Everything you've endured was preparation. Everything you lost was pruning. Everything you suffered was prophecy. And now comes the reward. The heavens are opening. The angels are moving. And God is whispering, "Well done, my faithful one. Now watch what I do for you." You can feel it, can't you? Something is shifting. Something deep in your spirit knows. This is not just another season. This is divine payback. God is about to turn the page. The shame you carried is about to be silenced by favor. The years the enemy stole from you, they're coming back. Not just restored, but multiplied. This is justice. This is recompense. This is the moment where heaven says, enough is enough. For so long, you've waited in the shadows, watching others be elevated while you carried burdens they didn't see. You celebrated people who never clapped for you. You poured out love in places that only left you empty. And quietly, your soul began to wonder if anyone saw you at all. But God did. And not only did He see, He remembered. The pain, the loneliness, the silent seasons, it was all noted. Not one moment was wasted, and now heaven is preparing to make a public announcement on your behalf. The same people who questioned your worth, who mocked your silence, who dismissed your heart, they will watch as God reveals exactly who you are. Because this is more than vindication. This is divine justice. You see, when God moves on behalf of His chosen ones, He does it in such a way that no one can take the credit. He waits until the odds are completely against you. until your name is dismissed, until the stage is empty, just to show everyone that it was him all along. And that's what's happening now. He's setting the stage not for your return, but for your rise. There are some tables you were denied a seat at because they weren't worthy of your presence. There were rooms that rejected you because your anointing would have disrupted the counterfeit order. But now God is preparing a table for you in the presence of those who never believed. And when you sit down, it won't be in arrogance. It will be in grace, because what you've gone through taught you humility. What you've endured shaped your character. You learned to be loyal without being noticed. You learned to serve without applause. You learned to love without condition. And in doing so, you became qualified, not by man, but by heaven. This is why your reward will not be small. This is why the release will not be ordinary. It has to be supernatural, because no natural explanation can make sense of how someone like you, so underestimated, so broken, so overlooked, could rise with such authority. That's the glory of God. And hear me, it's not just about blessing you. It's about restoring what the enemy tried to redefine. For too long, you were labeled by your struggle. You were seen through the lens of your past. But now God is rewriting your narrative. He's taking what was meant to destroy you and using it to elevate you. That divorce, that betrayal, that bankruptcy, that season of complete silence, it was all part of the divine blueprint, because heaven doesn't waste pain. And now everything you've prayed for, healing, clarity, peace, justice, is being released into your life like a mighty rushing wind. Not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. You held on when others let go. You stood firm when everything around you was collapsing. And that kind of faith moves mountains. God is not just giving you back what was taken. He's giving you what was promised. He's giving you what your ancestors were denied. He's giving you what your enemies feared you would receive. He's giving you the keys to doors you didn't even know existed. You thought it was just about surviving. But God says, no, this was about establishing legacy. Because your victory is not just personal, it's prophetic. Your rise will be a signpost to others that God is still a God of justice, that He still restores, that He still exalts the humble, and that He still answers prayer. Your story will be a testimony for people who gave up hope, people who need to see that miracles still happen, that dreams delayed are not dreams denied. Don't shrink now. Don't apologize for the blessing. Don't downplay the overflow. You suffered in silence. Now rejoice in the light. You mourned in the dark. Now dance in the presence of your breakthrough. This is your moment. You are stepping into it not as the broken version of yourself, but as the healed, whole, restored vessel God always intended you to be. And let me tell you, there is nothing more terrifying to the enemy than a healed, focused, chosen one who knows who they are in God. That's you now. Your hands are clean. Your heart is pure. And your mind is clear. You know who you are. You know whose you are, and no one can take that from you. You're no longer chasing validation. You're walking in revelation. You're no longer begging for seats. You're building your own table. And the ones who once dismissed you, they'll watch and wonder how it all turned in your favor. But you'll know. You'll remember the nights you wept in prayer, the times you sat in silence while others slandered your name, the moments you sowed seeds of love when your heart was bleeding. And now all of it is coming back to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. This is the reversal. This is the reward. This is what happens when a chosen one refuses to bow, refuses to break, and refuses to back down. So take a breath, exhale the fear, inhale the promise. You are not waiting anymore, you are receiving. And as you do, remember this, your release is not just a gift, it's a sign to every silent observer that God's favor is real, that heaven honors endurance, that obedience pays off, and that the prayers of the righteous never return void. So stand tall, walk boldly, reclaim your peace, speak your truth, love without fear, give without restraint, because the time has come. What you prayed for, what you fasted for, what you wept over, it's already being released. Now go, walk into the overflow. You've probably asked yourself this question more than once. Why me? Why were you the one who was targeted so early, so relentlessly? Why did life feel like an uphill battle while others seemed to breeze through untouched? Let me tell you something the enemy hoped you'd never figure out. You were born with light inside of you, pure, potent, and disruptive to the darkness. From a young age, you carried a divine frequency, a kind of spiritual resonance that the enemy could detect before you ever understood it yourself. That's why you were targeted, not because you were weak, but because you were powerful. That power was raw at first, innocent, unformed, but even in its early form, it threatened structures of darkness, both spiritual and human. So the attacks began, not just in the natural world, but in the spiritual realm. The enemy worked overtime to introduce confusion, pain, fear, and false identity early in your life. He wanted to dismantle your spirit before it had time to awaken. That's why so many of your wounds came from people close to you, not strangers, not distant forces, but people you loved, people you trusted. That's how spiritual warfare often works. It infiltrates through relationships, especially when the enemy can't touch you directly. He didn't want to destroy your body. He wanted to fracture your soul. But he failed. Because no matter how deeply the wounds ran, something inside you refused to die. A whisper of truth, a flicker of light, a knowing you couldn't explain. That was your spirit refusing to surrender. And now it's time to break down the deeper truth, the hidden reason why it was you all along. It's not just about your calling, it's about your composition. You were built with divine codes inside of you, an inner compass that leans toward truth, love, healing, justice. You're a restorer, a revealer, a disruptor of systems that benefit from spiritual blindness that's dangerous to darkness. You've probably noticed that you make people uncomfortable even when you say nothing. Your presence disturbs the demons they're comfortable living with. You're not judgmental, you're just deeply aware. You feel things others block out. You discern what's not being said. That's your gift. That's your spiritual edge, and it's been sharpening in secret. Now it's time to understand another deeper principle, the paradox of spiritual warfare. The closer you get to breakthrough, the more intense the resistance becomes. It's not punishment, it's confirmation. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't threaten him. So if your life has felt like one long battle, congratulations. It's proof that your very existence is anointed. But here's the paradox. The very attacks that came to crush you were actually your spiritual training ground. You didn't realize it, but every betrayal taught you boundaries. Every heartbreak taught you compassion. Every loss taught you resilience. Every delay taught you discernment. You were becoming wiser, stronger, more accurate in spirit. And now you can sense things before they manifest. That's divine intelligence. You were not just surviving the fire, you were being refined by it. This is where most people misunderstand your journey. They think you've changed, but in truth, you've awakened. You've returned to your original blueprint, who you were before the trauma, before the betrayal, before the programming of this world tried to shrink you. You are remembering your assignment. And when you remember, everything begins to shift. How you speak, how you move, how you allow people to treat you, how you show up. You stop playing small. You stop explaining your worth. You start aligning with purpose over performance. Because deep down, your soul was never here to blend in. It came to stand out, stand firm, and stand up for truth. Now let's talk about the psychology of others' behavior toward you. So many of the attacks you endured weren't personal, even though they felt that way. People were reacting not to you, but to the light within you. Your existence exposed what they were avoiding. Your authenticity revealed their masks. Your healing made them uncomfortable with their wounds, and instead of dealing with their darkness, they projected it onto you. But here's the truth. They were never your enemy. They were your mirrors. instruments in your training. God used them to sharpen your discernment, to test your love, to expose what still needed healing inside of you. Even Judas was necessary for Jesus to fulfill his mission. And just like that, God is using everything, and I mean everything, for your good. There are no wasted wounds in the life of a chosen one. There are only lessons, elevations, and new levels of authority. Now you're stepping into your soul's true mission, and that's why all of this is happening. You didn't come here just to succeed in the worldly sense. You came here to shake things, to challenge generational patterns, to speak truth into atmospheres that have been silent for too long, to awaken others simply by being who you are. You are a frequency carrier. When you walk into a room, something changes. When you speak, hearts open. When you pray, the spirit realm shifts. That's your power. That's why you've been attacked. And that's why you can't go back to who you used to be. You've seen too much. You've felt too much. You've survived too much. Now it's time to become. The release that's coming isn't just for comfort. It's for alignment. It's so you can walk fully, boldly, and unapologetically in your calling. It's so you can fund the vision, support the mission, speak the message, break the chains for others, not just for yourself. You're not just the chosen one for you. You're chosen for them, the ones still lost, still hurting, still hiding. And your rising is a beacon that says it's possible. You can overcome, you can heal, you can win. That's your legacy. So stop shrinking, stop explaining, stop waiting for permission. You've already been released by heaven. And now everything you prayed for is being drawn to you by divine magnetism, not because you forced it, because you finally aligned with who you really are. The world may not understand you. The religious may criticize you. The fake may envy you, but heaven is applauding you. God is smiling over you, and creation is waiting for the full unveiling of the son or daughter you've always been. This is no longer about survival. This is about sovereignty. You've crossed over. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tension melt from your body. You've been carrying too much for too long, but here, right now, in this moment, I want you to hear something with your full spirit. It's done. The waiting, the suffering, the stretching, it wasn't in vain. Heaven has seen the weight you've been carrying, and God is now lifting it. You are the chosen one, not because you were the strongest, not because you were perfect, but because your heart stayed open when it would have been easier to close it. You kept loving. You kept hoping. You kept praying when the night felt endless. And now God is bringing you into fulfillment. The tides are turning. The script is flipping. You're walking into rooms you once only dreamed of, and not as a visitor, but as someone who belongs, because what's coming to you now was always yours. It just had to wait for the version of you who was ready to receive it. You are that version now. Gone is the insecure version of you who needed approval to move forward. Gone is the wounded version who tolerated less than what you deserved. Gone is the exhausted soul who lived in survival mode. You've been transformed in the shadows, in the tears, in the silence. You became royalty, and heaven is responding. The doors are opening not because you knocked louder, but because your spirit finally aligned with your destiny. You didn't have to strive your way into purpose. You surrendered into it. You let go of people who couldn't go with you. You shed the skin of your old self. You released the false labels. You allowed the pruning, the pressing, the process. And now the oil of glory is flowing freely over your life. This is your appointed time. What was withheld is being released. What was delayed is being accelerated. What was buried is being resurrected. The dreams you almost gave up on are about to call your name. The prayers you forgot you prayed are about to knock on your door. And the people who counted you out, they'll watch in awe, not because you want revenge, but because you are living proof of what happens when a chosen one refuses to quit. Don't expect everyone to understand. Not everyone has the eyes to see the divine. Some will doubt it. Some will try to attach themselves to your breakthrough without knowing your backstory. But you don't owe explanations. You owe obedience. This is your time to walk boldly, to speak clearly, to live fully. You've been hidden long enough. Let them see. Let them wonder. Let them watch God glorify himself through you. And as you rise, remember this. Stay rooted. Stay humble. Stay clear. Because what you're carrying now is heavy with purpose. You're not rising for applause. You're rising to shift atmospheres. You're not walking in favor just for fun. You're walking in it so others can find their way to freedom too. Your testimony is someone else's blueprint. Your journey is someone else's sign of hope. So hold your head high, let your light pour, smile with holy confidence. You're not the same, and you'll never go back to who you were before this awakening. Because God is not done, he's just getting started. Everything you prayed for is already in motion. The angels have been dispatched. The favor has been approved. The floodgates are opening, and your name is written in the wind. The time of wondering is over. The time of watching others is over. It's your time to step into everything heaven prepared for you long ago. You are chosen. You are ready. And now you're being released. So breathe, walk forward, expect the miraculous, live like your prayers have already been answered, because they have. And finally, listen closely. This isn't just a prophetic word, it's a personal invitation. Heaven is calling your name. Don't wait for another sign. This is it. Step in, stand up, rise. The divine release is here. Everything you prayed for is about to find you. You've been faithful with little. Now, get ready for the overflow. This is your destiny. This is your rise. This is your time.